You're watching Offbeat Business TV, brought to you from the Trade Group showroom floor in Carrollton, Texas. Have an awesome event every time. Schedule your consultation at tradegroup.com.
You're listening to the Offbeat Business Show, rebuilding American business influence locally, nationally, and abroad, bringing you experienced insight for a strong, influential brand and successful life in business. Here's your host, Susan Hamilton.
Well, hello there. You're watching Offbeat Business TV or listening to the Offbeat Business Show on the OBBM Network podcast. I'm here talking with my friend David Roberts.
Hey.
Good to see you today.
Good seeing you. Yeah.
It's been
a while.
It has.
Yeah.
But you're doing some really interesting things, and we've been focused a lot on the last few episodes on health and wellness.
Good.
And I love what you're doing with My Wellbeing Compass. So I thought this is a perfect time to talk about that because people are looking for ways to take care of themselves proactively, and it is really a swamp out there to try to find what you need. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with My Wellbeing Compass. What is the purpose of this community that you've built of practitioners that serve particular things that we need?
So first of all, My Wellbeing Compass has two components. One is empowering the people that are on their wellness journey. So the website itself has a ton of resources where you can look at whatever things you have going in your life and enlist practitioners in that network. Now the network is, and it could be in varying different types of, as they say, modalities. Mm-hmm. So one of the fundamentals is that we want to give tools to that individual that has decided to go on that wellness journey to be proactive, to help themselves. So it's a massive resource. There's ebooks, there's all kinds of resources, original content resources available to the person who, let's say, decides that, like I did in my own journey, that I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to get off medications. I'm going to not just accept that I'm doing okay relative to the next guy, but I want to thrive. I mean, I have a personal vision of living to 120 with the vitality of a 30-year-old.
Way to go.
And so that's me. So we want to empower that person to have resources and educate themselves to be, so it's not just a morass, like you said, not just this very confusing thing of, okay, well, can this help? Can that help? The reality of there's so many options. There's so much information out there that making sense of it sometimes can be paralyzing because you don't know, okay, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I take this supplement? Should I get acupuncture? Should I go to, and then how do I get started?
Well, it's because it seems to me that there are two different ways that it's serving the market in this way. And the one is, hey, if you've got a problem, because that's when people tend to start looking for solutions, right?
Sure.
Is they start to have a problem. But the overall message of My Wellbeing Compass is, hey, are you as healthy as you could be, and are you paying attention to the things that might be disturbing your peace, right?
Yes.
Because we both understand that disease is a lack of ease, right? We're not having that. So where could it be in our lifestyle that we might be able to make better choices? I think all of us in our particular market, I always remind everyone on every show that I know who you are, I know who we're serving. 80 to 85% of American micro to small business tend to be family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. It means they're building their business while they're raising their kids on any level that is, and they're taking care of their parents. They've got military, active duty, law enforcement officers, EMTs in their family or workspace, and about 30 to 50% have an addict in their family or workspace in some realm. If it's not in their particular group, they're usually only one person away of knowing someone who's dealing with these things and trying to help. Most people are trying to help in some way, and those things can be very stressful. And we don't really know anything more sometimes than, geez, I'm a little tired, right? I'm having a little lack of clarity, I'm having a little lack of focus, or I get myself crutching on a supplement or that extra cup of coffee, or right? Those little things that we tend to do, or maybe an extra glass of wine. right? Sometimes we're taking the other steps, and you're saying that My Wellbeing Compass is saying, let's take a look at that and just see where there might be gaps in the way you're viewing your own self-care.
Yeah, well, and interestingly enough, that's a great segue. For one thing, it is very multidimensional. We are multi-layered, and when you talk about the stress that you just talked about, we have emotional stressors. We have, I know you've talked to people in this space around electromagnetic stressors. There can be any number of stressors in our lives. The thing is, stress for the moment is one that can be a problem, but then you can fix it. When you continually repeat that process, it becomes chronic. And when that chronic stress leads to chronic disease, or ultimately leads to chronic disease. So it starts with you, then, you know, these little things. It's not the things that you do once, it's the things you do over and over and over again,
well, over time,
good or bad. The thing is, if you have these practices. So part of back to My Wellbeing Compass, one of the things we have is the CEO of My Wellbeing Compass, Renee Moore, actually has come up with, through her naturopathic doctor practice, she also happens to be has an IT background and has developed something that we have patent pending on, that you put in all of your symptoms, not just one, and not eliminating or skipping the ones that you're already taking a pill for or having some other intervention for, but you put all those symptoms in, and that there's an algorithm that goes and it basically raises flags and says, okay, you might need to focus on mindset. You might need to focus on this aspect. You might have a sensitivity to this particular, and it raises these flags, and then that
helps kind of hone
and
it
kind
in.
of gives a complete picture of me. For example, I took my assessment and on my own wellness journey. At the point that I took the assessment, I was doing pretty good. It was actually, my overall score was 60%. But after I progressed on the journey for a couple years, I am now at 98%. The only thing left in the symptoms that I have is I have a little bit of joint pain. I have a little bit of arthritis and things that I'm now working with some folks to work on. But we all live with, and here's another fundamental of My Wellbeing Compass, is we all accept chronic conditions as normal. And the reality of it is, chronic conditions may be common, but they're not normal. You with me? So it may be common, and we're even though we spend all the money we spend on, quote, healthcare in this country, we are like number 37, I don't know the exact number, in our overall health, because my granddaughter, for example, just had a pin removed from having a fracture in her femur, and she's only like 3 years old. I wouldn't want no child to go to any other medical system than our standard medical system to deal with that trauma, or that acute, as they would say, situation. If I have an infection that's taken me down, our system is awesome. The thing is, if you have a chronic condition, you have chronic aches and pains, you have chronic weight gain, obesity, type 2 diabetes, all these labels. Let's figure out what that is. Let's have a entire compass. That's why we call it My Wellbeing Compass, of potential practitioners who all kind of look at you as a holistic being with all of these symptoms, and let's kind of peel that back and get back to what is the root cause? Root cause analysis. If you've ever seen a naturopath, and that's, again, Ronit who started, the key is not labeling something and then giving you something to do that. The key is, let's get to the root cause and let's start fixing that. Just the fact, are you drinking enough water? You should be drinking half of your body weight in ounces every day of clean water. Because if you drink that much water and it has adulterated in any way, you're taking in a lot of toxins as well, potentially, that could cause you side effects. As I say now, I mean, I lost 70 pounds in the course of 2 years, and to me, weight loss is a side effect of healthy eating, is eating the right things.
Now you're making some great points, Dave, and what I was, when you talk about those chronic conditions and those, there's chronic behaviors that we do that over time, I notice at my age that I just routinely am making some choices. I've gotten into a rut in some areas of my life, right? And so it's a good thing that I've had some stability. So I know how to basically I know to take a walk. I know that is a great stress reducer. I've been doing that for years. I know to go do it. But it doesn't stop the fact that there's this new component to my life where I'm reaching for something to eat while I'm thinking and while I'm working through problems. So I noticed that you've made some really great proactive choices in your own life, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and when we get back, let's talk a little bit more about that, friends. Check out our sponsors, and we'll be right back after this.
The American business economy is positioned as it has never been before. Professional videography is a core element for attracting a higher level of engagement with the people group you need for significant impact. Now is your time to shine. My name is Bill Brock, owner of White Rock Films, and I invite you to a powerful opportunity in the marketplace, an opportunity to draw excited people to your events, an opportunity to showcase your ideas on infrastructure, an opportunity to become known as the industry authority and enjoy the associated benefits of a strong, influential brand. Video highlights, video teaches. Video puts a resistant market at ease, and video stirs the hearts and imaginations of your allies and strategic client base. White Rock Films offers full audio, video production for businesses ready to embrace the future, handling your project with professionalism, experience, and polish unheard of in the industry. My name is Bill Brock, and White Rock Films wants your business. See us online at whiterockfilms.com.
And we're back. You're watching Offbeat Business TV or listening to the Offbeat Business Show on the OBBM Network podcast. Today I'm talking with David Roberts, and we're talking about the My Wellbeing Compass and all the ways that we can be more proactive with our health and really look at things holistically through the tools available at mywellbeingcompass.com. So before we went to break, you were talking. I was mentioning some of the bad habits that I've realized that I'm kind of been stuck in. I'm realizing they're challenging me to really change the way I'm going about things. But you've challenged yourself.
Sure. You
looked at this, and I've noticed that even like today, when we talked earlier, you're getting back from a massage. You know to put your oxygen mask on, don't you?
Absolutely.
You know how to take care of yourself first. And we're talking to people in our audience that may not really look at their lives like that. Like, oh, I'm going to take a break and go do something like a massage. Now, women know enough to go, hey, I need a break. I'm going to go get my nails done, right? I'm going to go take care of that. But even then, it's really more chemicals involved. It's really not necessarily, it's relaxing, but you're still exposing yourself to quite a few toxins. But you're realizing in your journey through this, I mean, it wasn't just weight loss, it's also how you're going about your day and how you're recognizing how you impact the community and really stepping up to that in a different way. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing for yourself that helps you really hone that in.
Well, for one thing, for myself is simply this, that first of all, and again, in My Wellbeing Compass, we recognize that wellness isn't just a biochemical thing. It isn't even just a structural thing like maybe a chiropractor would deal with, although we have chiropractors in the network. It is a holistic mind, body, and spirit journey. And I am actually a practitioner in the network, known as now as the Vision Warrior. A lot of it is around life purpose. It's about our vision of our life. And so a component of life purpose, right, is I want to live to 120 with the vitality of a 30-year-old. So if I want to do that, what do I need to do? In order for that to be the case, this has to be, you can walk back to today and realize that that journey, that ideal day, that isn't a destination. It's actually a daily journey of making the right decisions. And one of the things that you did actually when you were talking before the break that I thought was actually impressive is you're self-aware of the habits that aren't serving you. And the thing is, once you realize that here's guidelines that say, okay, I learned that a male at my age, one of the biggest indications of whether we're going to be healthy or not, and it affects hormone levels and everything else, is the amount of body fat. And the way by doing things, learning not only the things that I consume, because a lot of our health resides in our gut.
Right.
I mean, it also resides in our mindset. And it also, so it's a mind, body, spirit thing, right? And for me, it is holistic. Part of why I started that journey was because I was working with clients. You can't, if you don't have mentors, if you don't have people working with you, then how can you help other people? How can I say, do as I say, not as I do? You ever go to a doctor's office and they're talking to you about not smoking or this, and you can smell smoke. Well, you can smell smoke on their hands. I mean, they literally, they don't even know. I mean, and I'm not saying that there's there's no doctors in our practice that are like that. One of the things we look at is people that walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. And so that's what we have. The thing is, I gave you one part of my well-being compass. Can I come back to that? Is that okay? The other part of it is we believe we can only go so far by ourselves. Self-medicating, self-prescribing, we tend to all want to find that silver bullet, right? I got to tell you, the people in the audience, and tell you, that silver bullet doesn't exist. Okay, it's a combination of things. You may find the bullet that targets by accident the root cause of everything, and it gets you on that journey. But it's a journey. When I started losing weight, I just went to a pure elimination of carbohydrates for the most part, which is like a ketogenic diet, and it got my system going in the right direction. But was that good enough? No. I wasn't eating clean, I wasn't healthy, I wasn't hydrating properly. I mean, as much as I needed to do a lot more. So getting a coach, getting a naturopathic doctor, getting my MD, who's also there to help me on my team, right? Them working with that person, as well as I get chiropractic care, I take supplementation. So those are good relationships, all of those things. Right? I have a massage. You mentioned the massage. I have all of these things. I'm in control, and I want them all. I don't want one of them saying, "No, don't go see him. This is the answer. Don't go see her. This is the." I don't want that. I want people who holistically see me as a complete package, understand where I want to go. I want to learn what I can do for myself and do that. And so that's been the real key. And the other thing is, it didn't happen overnight. I started this journey in January of 2017. It's now January of 2020. It's been a 3-year journey.
I remember the first time I saw you after that. It had been a while since I'd run into you again, because I'm noticing something, Dave. I am noticing as you're talking, I get what principles you're bringing to the table. You're doing the same thing you do when you are coaching a business, when you are going in and giving your executive coaching and direction to. You're doing exactly the same thing, and you're applying it to health. That's absolutely brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. I love that. And you know what that means for me, and maybe it does for you too, but it means that you can do it.
Absolutely.
That means it's not outside of the realm of possibility, that you can be healthy, that you can have the other side of that. You don't have to be unclear, unfocused, right? You don't have to be wondering all the time with the self-doubt up here. And you're right. I always say that we are a vessel, not a container.
Absolutely.
And when we get to that, where we're trying to do it all ourselves, there's twofold, right? We have to have something coming in, and we have to be able to give it out. And we have to be able to put ourselves in that spot where we're continually learning and learning from someone else, right? That has already been there, that has an understanding and a specialty and an expertise in that area to take us through that other side. I love that. That allows us to then set an example, and we can actually have healthier communities. What?
Yeah. Well, I've heard your story before. For example, I mean, you're a parent. I have 5 children. I now have almost 5 grandchildren. My daughter's about to give birth to number 5.
Congratulations.
And what I can tell you is that it's the same things that you feel. I actually have been accused of, maybe I had a practice back when my kids were going to the doctor because I took such an active interest in their health and well-being, and when they had things, and I wanted to understand why. You said you put your own oxygen mask on. We don't necessarily do that for ourselves if we're not careful.
No, we got the
or
weird
we become
idea
this
of humility,
zombie
right?
that goes through, and we hear and they say, okay, well, you have a skin problem. Okay, just take this pill. The problem is that one medication, if you ever noticed an advertisement for a pharmaceutical on TV, has more of the side effects information and what could happen to you, and we're so conditioned to ignore that, that even though it's there and you get 5 minutes of, okay, eliminate your psoriasis, and oh, by the way, you could die if you take this, and here's all these other things, right?
Or you could just start bleeding somewhere.
Yeah, right. So what happens is, as in my own case, it wasn't just that I lost 70 pounds and I've been on this journey and I've increased my potential to live longer. I eliminated 6 different medications that I was taking, but the reality of it is, until I eliminated one, I couldn't eliminate the other, I couldn't eliminate the other. Because what happens is, you take one and it solves this problem, right? Because it's not holistic. It creates these side effects that then you need another, then you go in for that symptom and they give you another. So they label that with something else. And so the problem is, pretty soon we get frustrated. We spend thousands, if not millions of dollars in this, for sure, in this system to solve problems that we're creating with the system because we didn't get to the root cause before we started. I'm not saying drugs are bad. I'm not saying pharmaceuticals are bad. I'm not saying anything's bad. I'm saying we have a responsibility, and we want people to support us in our own journey of wellness. And part of why I have a role as a practitioner is I want you to understand, want people to understand why they're doing this, what life looks like when you're not sick anymore. What is it? How much could you do? I intend to play with my grandkids' grandkids.
Right. I mean, there's so much more to it, and if we take that role and look back, just like our financial health, we know we want to be here one day, right? So we're going to take those steps. Okay, if we're going to be here, this is what it looks like now. If I'm going to be here then, and this is how it's going to have to change and morph over time to get over here. I use those strategies as I build OffBeat Business Media. Absolutely understand that. To apply that to health, I think, is really brilliant.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to share you with our audience, because it's so important for them to be able to find the resources that they need, and resources that are willing to work together in a proactive way, not just finding ways to. I don't think it's wise to just see how many ways you can medicate a situation. I don't. I agree that with you that there's a time and a place for those things. And urgent care. Thank God we got it.
Absolutely. No better system on the planet than what we got when it comes to
I'm not going to heal my own broken leg, right? We're going to need some solutions.
Absolutely.
Out there. You got a heart transplant. Guess what? You're probably not going to solve that.
Now maybe you could have done some things to get not to get to that point, but once you're at that acute point, we need that.
But we
can't treat the things. We don't want to treat the things that we can help ourselves with.
And we can, once we have had that issue, like for instance, and right before I go, that's what I'll say. When my husband had a stroke, we knew we had to find particular care, because we weren't interested in following just the protocol. We wanted absolute health, and we didn't want to get stuck on something that would now take away our other choices in life for how we wanted to live. And we had a real hard time finding that information. And I know since then I've had many, many conversations with people that have said the same thing. So I'm grateful that you're here today talking about those things, because like you're saying, if it's a hard issue, you are going to find a proactive way. Yes, you may not ever have to get there, but once you do have an acute situation, then you need to heal after that, even after cancers and everything else. So you've got a group of people here that are going to be very helpful in getting us to that spot. So Dave, thank you so much.
It's awesome.
Is that the best way to reach you? Do you want to tell the audience My Wellbeing Compass?
MyWellbeingCompass.com. You can find me there. You can find Ronit Moore, who I mentioned, Dr. Skinner, who's an MD, who's a family practitioner, but sees the world very integrated and holistically. So if you have other modalities and things and you're doing things where you aren't going to go to a doctor or a practitioner and have them try to tell you that the things you're doing aren't mattering, but actually figure out the root cause and how does it all work and bring the right people, then that's what I would say. But yeah, mywellbeingcompass.com is a good place to go. You can find me, the Vision Warrior. You can find in the spiritual part of the compass, and then actually, I'm there, but there's all kinds of other help there, including a lot of self-help, things that people can just do. It doesn't cost them anything. They can go and read ebooks and things.
And so, friends, if you're driving down the road and you listen to the OBBM radio and you don't have a chance to write this down, don't sweat it. Download the OffBeat Business app. You'll be able to get all this information. You'll be able to click right over to mywellbeingcompass.com and reach this information that you need. Until next time, you've been listening to the OffBeat Business Show on the OBBM Network podcast, watching OffBeat Business TV. My name is Susan Hamilton. Until next time.
You've been listening to the OffBeat Business Show. Find our lineup, podcast, magazine, event calendar, and sponsor information, even our membership directory, all available on the OffBeat Business app or at offbeatbusiness.com. Download the OffBeat Business app today.